Hello. Here we are, chapter 14 of the Curatage Ghost. Here, in the old low-ceilinged dining room, stood 4 children on the cusp of adulthood. 2 genuinely old grandparents and a 500-year-old ghost. This time he was real, solid, a seemingly genuine breathing flesh and blood person in costume, much smarter than in any previous appearance. Blue lights were still flashing outside the windows, but all was quiet in the house. Sir Maximilian looked around, taking in each of them and tightening his grip on Amelie's hand. She realized that he was, at that moment, the most nervous of all. He lifted his head, straightened his back, and tried to speak. His first attempts released no sound, and no words appeared in the assembled company's minds. He tried again, cleared his throat in a normal sort of way, and began to speak in a surprisingly mellifluous voice. The accent was slightly strange, Frenchish, but perfectly intelligible. I am so displaced in time and in space. I know you must be real, and me the phantasm, but truly it feels mixed up. I feel so solid, like will-o'-wisps over a blasted heath. My memories are disordered, befores and afters, mixing with nows and then. You, he gestured round the room, are from a different place, and yet the same one. I'm in a play, a naughty good one. My betrothed, she is dying most horribly, and there is no saving her. I see my own doom by fire, feel my own pain. Ambition brought me to this unfinished end, and to her, my pride, her ruin. Oh, Catherine, what is to do? What is to do? He squeezed Amelie's hand so hard that she cried out. He was startled and released her. There was another long silence. No one could quite find anything to say, as the rules of this sort of encounter were unfamiliar and uncertain. Yaya was the first to break the spell. How can we help you, Mr. Ghost? Maximilian was obviously unsure. He looked around again, looking more and more lost as he did. Are you hungry? Asked Esme. Judy's lemon drizzle cake is cool. Hungry? Am I hungry? Sir Max considered the question carefully. I have not been hungry since I was a spirit. But now, I have changed. I am put together again. So, am I hungry? Maybe, little lady, I am. Cake. Does cake change? Judy came in with several slices. Sir Max looked, picked up a piece, sniffed it, and then took a bite. A delighted beam spread across the old ghost's face. Oh, exquisite! Oh, such a delight! Oh, it's the sensation! I must be living again! Oh, 'tis a contorted miracle! He wolfed down 2 more slices in quick succession. Judy thought it prudent to remove the plate, being unsure of the vagaries of a 500-year-old digestive tract and fearing for the threat to her newly cleaned rug. A simple slice of drizzle cake had transformed Sir Max. He was now beaming and addressing Grandma Judy directly. Oh, methinks, my splendid lady, that your kitchen holds other delights. I pray I will have the time to sample some. Judy experienced her first real twinge of anxiety. Was he staying? What was she going to do with a solid ghost in her house? What would she tell her friends? Grandad was doodling in his mind about quantum theory and the nature of time in trying to explain the incontrovertible fact that there was a man from the early 16th century standing next to him. Luca was thinking that this was better than any history lesson, hoped that Sir Max would be able to teach him sword fighting. And wondered, oh dear, and wondered if he might be persuaded to talk to his school. I mean, think of all the kudos that would mean. Seriously wicked. Yaya thought this was a fabulous adventure and hoped Sir Max would teach her Tudor games and tell her true stories of the olden days. Esme was worried about Sir Max. Was he going to disappear again? Was he going to crumple into dust like in Dracula films? Where did he live? Were the bad people from long ago still chasing him? Would he need to use the loo? Amelie was worried about his wife. Was she still suffering somewhere in a time warp? Would she be able to help Sir Max? Well, sort of die properly in peace. I mean, should she ask the vicar to come and help? Sir Maximilian de la Pole was quickly adjusting to his new circumstance, and after so long in an extracorporeal limbo, he was rather enjoying the prospect of a new life. The old one had been full of horror and misery, good food, good wine, and maybe even good women, perhaps, he thought. Some were, or somewhat wickedly bad women, might be even more fun. But Catherine would be best of all. The gloom returned at the hopelessness of that last thought. A loud banging on the front door disturbed everyone's thoughts. Judy was quickest to react. That will be the fire brigade, I expect. We don't want another fireman having a conniption. Sir Max, so I suggest you hide yourself in the breakfast room while I deal with them. He did as he was told. There was indeed a cross-looking fireman standing at the door. I don't know what you lot did to our Bert, but he's a gibbering wreck. Really spooked he is. The chief has had to take him home and call the doc. Kept muttering about a ruddy ghost. Well, I don't know about your fireman, but there are no ghosts here, said Judy, with an authority not to be brooked. Probably inhaled some toxic smoke and set him hallucinating. Don't you think, Peter? Turning to Grandad, who nodded obediently. Used to be a GP, said Judy, as corroboration of Grandad's status to have an opinion. Well, I suppose you could be right, but I do need to check your cellar to see if the smoke has stopped. And off he went. After a minute or so, he shouted up, Hey, missus, have you been up to something funny? I mean, where's the radio? Judy and Grandad descended quickly into the cellar. There was no tunnel entrance, just smooth, undisturbed concrete floor. This time, Grandad did not have an opinion. He just shrugged. The fireman looked crosser than ever and left muttering about what a poodle-fating weird house this is. End of chapter 15 of the Curatage Ghost. Bye. Actually, on that last bit, I'm leading you astray, was actually the end of chapter 14 of the Curatage Ghost, but you probably realise that anyway. Farewell, till we meet again.